Hello, my name is Ilona and today is Thursday, January 12th, 2023, and I wanted to start with cyber attacks. This is happening, it's been happening for a while. We've had social media, blackouts, happening with WhatsApp and Facebook or Meta and things like that. And we have, of course, banking systems collapsing or happening, with banking systems that you couldn't get in your bank account, things like that. We have had even this year already with my bank that there were times that there apparently was something wrong, so you couldn't enter the systems. There's also been a city in Belgium, Antwerpen or Antwerp, if I'm not mistaken in English, but I'm just going to call it Antwerpen. There was December 6th, 2022, there's been an attack as well, and apparently there was a collective claiming this attack and they wanted ransom that should have been paid on December 19th, 2022. The only thing I could find is that apparently the mayor Bart de Wever held a press conference on December 19th, 2022 and just said that most likely the people living in Antwerpen, there was not really any serious damage for them. But there was no mentioning that they actually paid the ransom or anything like that. Of course, yesterday we had airplanes stuck to the ground in America. There was this gigantic thing happening there. Apparently there was just some issue there, technical issue. What I've read so far is that there weren't any signs that there was an actual attack. I also shared a message yesterday from Storm Rider on my Telegram channel, and he mentions, or he or she, but I just assume it's a he, the Freemasons control several thousands of airports around the world and they plan to create chaos by stopping flights and blaming cyber attacks. So I thought that was very interesting to take a look at those cyber attacks. And the cards I got was the Hermit. The central card was the Devil. Card in the past was the Queen of Swords. The card underneath the Devil is the Magician. And then we have for the future, near future, we have the Nine of Cups and the Empress, which is very interesting. So I got an extra card just to, more as an explanation, is there going to be more attacks going on? I just wanted to know, couldn't get that from these cards yet. And this is Pentacles 7 is the card I got for that question. So I do believe there are going to be more cyber attacks coming. This is from the dark energies. They have people in all kinds of places. And of course, this is part of draining the swamp. You need to know who they are. So by doing things like this, of course, the white hats can track down who is really, truly behind this. But they still have that power and they still have a lot of people on a lot of places capable of creating chaos. That's what they want. They want to make sure people are isolated, really isolated, and they want to make sure people do not step into their own power. Very important. They want to have this very low frequency, low vibration. So they want people scared, afraid, not knowing what's really going on. So this is part of this chaotic thing, the chaos they still have in their powers to create. I don't think they have these large scales things anymore that they can create. They would have done it by now. They would have started something worldwide if they are capable of doing this. But this can still lead to a lot of damage and a lot of chaos. But I don't think we've seen the last of it yet, especially with Pentacles 7. I think we can still expect things happening. It takes time to really drain the swamp. But with these cards, I do have a feeling that everything ultimately will be all right. This is bringing back, of course, this sacred feminine principle again. But this is necessary to clean up again. Because, of course, the white hats do have control over important things. But it doesn't mean that they know everyone of all these puppets. And the dark energies have like this army of people that they control in a certain way through their brains and through, of course, certain techniques they've used. So they will only start acting like that when they're activated. And that's, of course, so until they're activated, they will just lead a normal life. So it can be very tough to know who is in what camp. So these things unfortunately will happen. That's the message I'm getting here. It will take some time before they are all recognized and who is playing what game. But it will turn out eventually, in the end, it will be all right. That's why I've got these cards. These are positive cards. But it will take time. It will take time. And this is what the dark energies still have. They've got the media, although that is also falling apart. But they still have, stories they can create, fear they can create. And that's what they're doing right now, just to keep everyone in a very low vibration. Because if they've got humanity in a low vibration, they can control them, they can feed off that energy, they can use that energy. And if people don't step into their powers, they are way more easily, manipulated. And that's what this really is about. It's creating chaos. It's creating fear. That's what they want. So that's part of what's happening. And I do believe we're going to see more of that. So that's the energy of the attacks that have been going on. The second card reading I wanted to take a look at is very specific for the Netherlands. We have a new law that they want to push through that will give them all kinds of ways to, if something happening, what's been happening the past 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years almost, that they have the right to, restrict again or keep people at home, that you have to certain things in front of your mouth, things like that. They want to make sure that they now have a law. It's already been through we call the Tweede Kamer, so it's already been through the House, I think it's comparable to. So it's now actually going through the Senate. And they already tried with what's been going on in China, fearful things they try to create to get the Senate back sooner. So they would look at the law sooner. But if I'm not mistaken, they will look at it January 17th. And then they're going to vote, I think, February 2nd, if I'm not mistaken here. So I got the cards, but I have to mention, to me, it feels like this will... this law will become a law, of course, if it goes through the Senate and they agree with it. Because right now we have these puppets still there. All these dark puppets are still there. Just why it actually got through the second house or the house. Because we have these puppets there. They follow the agenda. They're not that interested in other facts, so to speak. Because I've seen that people were writing now to the Senate that, all these things they want to use, they haven't been evaluated, and really they haven't really done anything. That clock, that evening clock we've had, it hasn't changed anything. So it's ridiculous to put that in a law. But really, those puppets, they follow what's been told, and they follow the agenda. So to me, it feels like this is probably going to get through. But I just wanted to take a look at the energy around it. And we've got the Hanged Man. We have the central card, which is very interesting, the Three of Cups. In the past, we have the Ace of Cups. So to me, this is a yes, that the law will probably get through the Senate. We have the Nine of Pentacles underneath the central card. And for the near future, we have the Nine of Swords and we have the Eight of Pentacles. I also was looking at the back of the deck and we have the Queen of Wands. But this was very interesting to me. So I do believe that this will most likely get through. Maybe there will be some adjustment made, things changed before the Senate will pass it. But I do believe it will be passed, or maybe it will. There may be some issue with it, but I do believe that they will pass the law. But as I've mentioned in my Dutch video, because I've shuffled the cards in my Dutch video, it's up to us in the Netherlands, to follow that law. I'm not going to follow anything. I haven't done any test. Of course, those stinks. I'm staying far away from that. And I don't wear anything in front of my mouth anymore. I've done for a long time. So even if that would be necessary, I just won't do that. Also very interesting is a lot of people here in the Netherlands didn't get their next stings, which means there is a large group that is not up to date with their pass. So if they really want to get that pass in again, they have a larger group now than they had 2.5 years ago. Of course, after the first stings came in, they'll have a larger group that will not be they won't be getting their pass because they're not up to date. So that's going to be very interesting. So to me, it feels like there is so much resistance and there's so much coming out now with the damage of the stings, with information. A lot of people are completely fed up with this. So maybe this celebration will be not celebrating, of course, that this law is actually going to make it, but that will be celebrating because a lot of people they're not going to do this. It will open their minds more that this government is not here for us. So in a way, this will help through white hats, of course, by showing people what's really going on. That it doesn't make any sense why they would allow this law to pass. So this is going to lead to a lot of criticism, a lot of resistance. And I think a lot more people will follow their own independent line because this is about becoming independent. And like I've mentioned before, I'm not going to follow anything. So if more and more people are going to do that, we just let them do a lot of things in The Hague, but we're just not going to follow them. And I don't think a lot of people are really, truly going to follow them, especially if they want to bring it in now. All the information now and people seeing that there really isn't as serious as they claimed it was. Of course, 2.5, 3 years ago, people had no idea what was going on and they were fearful. There was this group of people just following everything they were throwing at us. But a lot of people have woken up now and are seeing like this doesn't make any sense. So I think this is actually going to just create backlash, resistance. There's going to be a group of people fearful, obviously. There's always going to be a group of people that really want this and are afraid and still are afraid and still getting their stings. There is a group of people here in the Netherlands, small group of people to me, at least to my knowledge, that is still up to date, but they're probably the only ones going to actually be able to go anywhere. But with the rate of people dropping down, I don't think a lot of them will be left by then. And it may seem like I'm joking here. I'm not. This is an awful situation. I just want to make sometimes I have a little strange sense of humor to create some light, but of course this is an awful situation. We see so many people now dropping like flies. It's horrible. These are loved ones. These are people that other people care about. People become sick. So much going on. Young people. It's an horrific situation. But it shows people that really they are not there to help us. It will just create more resistance, more backlash. So I think this is probably what this celebration in a way means. It's very strange. When I was looking at this card, I was like, why would this card be the central card? But ultimately, this will help people wake up, seeing what's really going on. This government isn't for us here. Not in the Netherlands, not worldwide. I don't think most governments, when there are still dark puppets around, they're not there for us. So I do think that this law, most likely, if nothing happens before that time, nothing drastic or outrageous will happen, then this law most likely will pass. Because like I've mentioned, those puppets are still there in the Senate. So they follow the agenda. They're not interested in whether, these things that they want to use, the measurements that they want to use, that they are evaluated or not. But let's face it, they didn't want, they've got their agendas. That's what this is about. So I do think that this law will pass here in the Netherlands, but I think it will just create more and more resistance and people just following their own way. Like I mentioned, I'm not going to follow anything. And the situation is changed so much. I'm not even sure how they're going to implement it now, because this fear for a lot of people is gone about what's been happening. Then they'll have to introduce something new. I don't think that's going to happen. And then we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm not very fearful about this. to me, this feels like this will just lead to people more waking up. So I'd like to leave it at this and hope to see you in another video. Bye.